Welcome back to episode 81 of Instant Expertise Marketing. We're happy you're here as we are continuing our four-part mini series on the four foundational pillars that every offer needs to drive campaign results. In short, we are addressing how you can fix your failing campaigns without starting over. And today, we're going to tackle the third pillar. What you're getting in these three short episodes is a culmination of 35 years of our field work during a time when we developed tons of offers for clients across business verticals, across target audiences, across steps in the customer journey. So, this is why we really know from our own expertise that this works in all of these different scenarios. And again, I'm
Mhm.
Yvette Brown, co-founder of X Promos. I became an entrepreneur at 23 by starting a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Sherry Nomadi.
Well, guys, that makes me Sherry Nomadi, right? Or some imposter. You guys know
We're
that
happy
Yvette
to
and
have you
I,
back today, Sherry.
thanks. So, you guys know that Yvette and I approach business from opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet we always come to the same conclusion on how we will help our clients succeed. Before we get to pillar number three, I think we should do a quick review of why we're talking about offers anyway. We should all be in agreement that virtually all marketing is ultimately created to get a prospect or even customers to take a very specific action. When we want them to subscribe to a newsletter or a channel, maybe we want them to learn more about a brand, try what we have to offer, or buy something that we sell, or just tell others about it, right?
Exactly. And, the thing is, neuroscience confirms that people don't take action unless they have to. And as a result, your job is to give them a reason to act. Like, it's great that you have a great asset, a great valuable thing that you want to share with them and you think that they should, but you have to give them a reason to take action and make it happen right now, unless you're willing to wait for them.
And that's why we all create content and ads and webinars, even newsletters and videos, and a lot more other things. We try to create things that will entice the prospect to act. But oftentimes we forget to give them a reason.
Exactly. And, honestly, it bums us out when clients create this awesome content. They've got these killer webinars or videos, but it's just not compelling a prospect to reach out. It's not good enough to just say, hey, look what I got. That's not going to do it. And in reality, not everyone is interested or ready to consume your assets, your content today. But even if they're a future customer, the goal is to engage them so that you can start a relationship. You want them to know, like, and trust you, and you need to nurture that relationship until the time is right.
And the way you engage can make or break your response rate. A great, irresistible, ideal offer, what we can, the signature offer, connect your brand to an audience with the right offer at the right time based on where that prospect is in their own customer journey.
Exactly. And, that really answers the why of why we're here today and why we're talking about it. And we created this mini series to go over what we identified as four key pillars. In our first episode in this mini series, we covered the structural skeleton, right? Which is the core of your offer. In the last episode, I covered the muscle mechanics, which is how your offer works. And if you haven't checked out those episodes yet, make sure you do that after you finish today.
But right now, it is time to introduce pillar number three, and that is the anatomy of the offer, the heart. These are the psychological and emotional triggers that you must tap into in order to convince your prospect to take your action now.
Yeah, and as we know, people act on emotion and justify with rationale.
Mhm.
And honestly, we're really excited because the business world is finally waking up to the fact that even their prospects are human. Guess what? Big surprise. And even though their purchases have to go through a buying committee or other internal reviews, the emotional and psychological triggers still work, not only for your B2B audience, but for your B2C audience, but also for your B2B audience.
So these psychological triggers, they are subtle the way you deliver an offer. Ideally, you want to tap into multiple triggers so that you can convince your project prospect to take your desired action.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Sherry. An important consideration when you're looking at emotional or psychological triggers is that you can easily stack them, right?
Mhm.
And the more that you understand your target audience or ICP, and the deeper you can potentially tap into their desires, which is what we're trying to motivate them to take that action.
And you might be sitting there thinking that these psychological triggers are unnecessary or even manipulative, but they're not. They're neither one of those things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and Sherry, I'm sure you're thinking of the same client experiences that I am, because
Absolutely.
in our past, clients have often been overly concerned about, for instance, our, insistence that we use some form of urgency. They feel like it's unnecessary or it might be perceived as pushy or whatever. But pretty much over time, they have always learned how important it is just to add urgency to whatever offer you are presenting.
And guys, we never advocate to lie or give a false deadline, but we absolutely stand by the requirement that you limit the offer and be serious about that limit.
Yes.
The most obvious type of limitations is like a deadline, but you can also do limit by quantity or by adding a bonus that's only available. You've all seen it, limited time offer.
Mhm.
Those are the kind of things we're talking about.
Yeah. And, to give you an example of this, certainly everyone that's listening today has seen the trade show special, right? There's a limited time offer with folks that are, at trade show booths that say you can only get this thing at this price or with this bonus so long as the trade show goes on. Or maybe
Mhm,
they're going to say we only have 100 of these and as soon as they sold out, that's it. If you
mhm.
wait to order until you get back home, the deal is off, right? Like that is a perfect example of urgency. And the point here is that you're not pressuring anyone to do it, to buy it, but what you are doing is you're pressuring them to make a decision, right? You're
Right.
not saying you have to buy this, but you are saying you have to decide. And there's a very big difference. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. And as a reminder, offers can and they should be used at every step of the customer journey. And that is from awareness to advocacy. So if you want your prospect to act, you need to entice them to do so. And using urgency is just one psychological trigger that you can use to help drive action.
Yep, and it's one of the very many triggers that you can tap into. Some of our favorites, other than urgency, we're going to talk about today. The first one is FOMO, right? It's fear of missing out, right? Literally, that is a big deal with people, and you can absolutely tap into that when you're delivering your offer. Another one is novelty, right? Offering something new because people crave newness. It's part of our human nature.
And novelty, that can play a role in more than one way.
Mhm.
If you've ever sold to a retail buyer or even to a distributor, you're used to hearing, "What do you have new for me today?" Right?
Right? Always.
Packaged good manufacturers, they refresh their lines, actually, not necessarily for the consumers, but for the retailers who want something new for the consumers.
Yep, yep. And this also applies to the B2B as well. And this is when your existing customers and your resellers are looking for new features, fresh looks, a new dashboard, all of those things. Why? Why does that happen with such frequency? It's because our body craves newness. Novelty or newness delivers dopamine to our brains, and that's something we crave.
Exactly. Everybody does.
Yep.
And now here's a couple of other emotional triggers that you might not even be considering yet. But first, pain aversion. In as much as we want improvements, the reality is that people are, according to scientists anyway, twice as likely to avoid pain as they are to seek some improvement. And that's why the PAS framework is so common in copy, and that is pain, agitate, solution.
Exactly. And, to be fair about pain aversion, people also want to they're seeking transformation. So
Mhm.
they're seeking a pathway that will help them reach for their dreams. And typically that's not a, little incremental improvement, right? You've got to kind of think a little bit bigger. It's either completely avoiding pain or transforming into a whole different place and getting, that brass ring or, really be in your dream, living your dream life, living the dream.
Yep. So, how and which emotional triggers do you pull really depends on the product and your offer. So, let's share one more thing, and that's called single option aversion. And basically, this means that people want choices, but they don't want too many choices because then they get too confused. So, that's why typically you'll see two or three brands of a product on a retail shelf, and why most good self-serve SaaS brands offer three tiers and mark the one that's most popular or best choice. You've seen it everywhere, even on Amazon. Amazon's choice, right?
Absolutely. And, I can't think of a time that I've, bought into a SaaS brand that didn't offer me three tiers of pricing. Like it's
Hmm.
just the way it is. And that is absolutely purposeful. Packaged goods brands and retailers are masterful at being able to offer you the good, better, and best choices when it comes to things, even if that that means that middle brand is the big seller. Like, that's okay. They still need a low price or a generic brand to kind of set the low bar, and a premium brand for people that are really into that or want to go higher. Like, there's a lot of, there's a lot we can learn from that. Again, the B2C that applies over to B2B as well. So, back to the idea of the three tiers of pricing, that's a perfect example. It's super true. So, hot tip for you guys: if you are selling something online and you are not currently today offering three tiers of pricing, we strongly urge you to go update your sales page today, right? Add one or two more, depending on where you are. Get to
Hmm.
three. Three is the magic number. And then do not be surprised when your sales orders increase, and come back and tell us about it.
Absolutely. And guys, with that hot tip, we're going to wrap up for today. Now we've added the heart or the emotional triggers to pillar number three, to the structural, skeleton, and the muscle mechanics. You'll have to
So,
come back next time, though.
yep. Now, does anybody have any guesses on the fourth pillar? Right? You guys can start
Yeah.
thinking about that before you come back for the next one.
And that's just right, Yvette. They're going to have to come back next time to find out it. But in the meantime, remember that the purpose of the four pillars is to create an offer that will motivate your prospect to take a specific action, whether it's download a white paper, subscribe to your newsletter, watch a webinar, sample a product, or any other action along their customer journey.
So, thank you again, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because we don't want you to miss any episode, but especially the next episode, which we're going to conclude on the four pillars of offers and share with you number four. And of course, if you need guidance on creating your very own brand signature offer, reach out to us at you'll find us at xpromos.com or on social media, however it works for you. Reach out and let's get going on a conversation.